Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I don't, I don't know about this episode. So it's kind of a lot to talk about. I feel like, just because I feel like my notes are like a damn book at this point, and also, I have a clip of an interview with they call him Stone Cold and Jackal, and they got Maurice Bernard in it. And I was gonna make a separate video, but I feel like the video kind of plays into this episode and just kind of some of the complaints that some people have been having, and I mean by a lot. Even at my day job, when people walk up to me and they talk about like General Hospital and Sonny and how he's doing the side story, that's just a lot of people aren't feeling. You know, not that they're not feeling, it's just they want him back to where it's at, and this other stuff is whatever. But I first want to talk about is this Cam, Trina, and Jocelyn scene. And in a way, I'm kind of going to be playing a little bit of devil's advocate. I know it's kind of weird, but just follow me for a minute. So, Cam asked them to meet them up at the hospital. And, you know, Jocelyn's like, what's going on? What do you want to talk about? Cam is like, well, I don't think that Franco's dead. I think he faked his death so that way he wouldn't have to watch us like have us watch him die slowly and stuff. So to spare them, he decided to fake his death with the help of Jason. And, you know, they're going to sit there and try to look through the hospital records and stuff like that. So at this point, Jocelyn and Trina is just like, okay. So while Cam is sitting there trying to, you know, go through the hospital records and stuff like that with the ID and everything else, even though Trina was like, well, the last time we did this little trio thing, they pretty much was a lot harder on security than before. Cam figured he has this whole thing figured out. Now, I know this may rub some people the wrong way, but I'm gonna sit there and try to play this on both sides. So, they finally, well, you know, when they've realized that, like, he can't get in, one of them comes up with a better option. Or, I think it was Jocelyn comes up with a better idea. The guy downstairs, the morgue guy downstairs, gets interrupted by Trina. Trina's like, oh, my friend fell or whatever, you gotta come and help. So, of course, Cam comes in there, and he checks the body. You know, he goes to the list or whatever, and he looks at that freezer, and he's like, you know, he just has that look on his face, and he opens it up, and he checks the body. You know, he pulls over the sheet, and he sees Franco's body, and at that point, it hit him hard. And this is my whole thing about that. First of all, the scene was actually pretty great, you know. I know yesterday I did bag on him about the crying scene that, whatever the hell it is that he attempted to do. And I know some people liked it and some people, you know, didn't or whatever. I was one of those people that just was not a fan of it. I felt like, and I still do feel like, you know, that dramatic scene he just couldn't do. But that's just my opinion. But, you know, today he actually, like I felt it, you know? And it was one of those things where it's like, man, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't imagine. There is no way. Like, you couldn't pay me. There's not enough money in the world that someone can pay me to look at a loved one like that. I couldn't do it. So it hits him hard, and at this point, Terry calls Liz to come down to the hospital because, you know, she sees them, like the Scooby Gang or whatever, up to something. So she's just like, you know what, listen, you need to get down here. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever it is, it can't be good. So of course she goes down there, she finds Cam, and they start crying and stuff like that, and it's a really touching and emotional scene. Now just remember that I said it was a really and touching and emotional scene, and I still do stick by those words. On the other hand, I kind of felt like this was a complete waste of time, and let me tell you why, before anyone starts to get upset. When Liz came into the house, saw Cam, and Cam knew that there was something off. She told him the news. He was crying. He was upset. I felt like at that point it hit him. Okay, this isn't one of those things where it's like he got mad and was like, no, he's not really dead or whatever. He just runs upstairs and does one of his usual Cam things or whatever that he does. And this wasn't like that. So the fact that out of nowhere now we're in this episode and he's just like, oh, I don't think he's dead. I think he just faked his death. Now, yes, I can understand that's part of the grief process or whatever. Okay, fine. But I just felt like it was like, why are we doing this for? Like, you just woke up today and just decided that he was just joking with y'all, and that, he didn't really want to hurt you, and that Jason, out of all people, would sit there and help him fake his... What? I'm sorry, but if he was like 8 or 10 or 12 or maybe even 13, then I can see his mind going in that direction. But I felt like this was just kind of far-fetched, and just going down this rabbit hole of, even Jocelyn and Jocelyn and Trina was like, what are we doing? And, Jocelyn's like, listen, we need to sit there and help him to kind of, have him figure this out. But for me, I felt like this whole thing was just unnecessary. Like, this doesn't seem like something that Cam would just do. Like, even if he would have did that, this would have been right when Liz would have told him, not a day after he just wakes up and he's just like, oh, nope, I think he faked it. Let's go down the rabbit hole and see what happens. It's just like, this is the best that y'all came up with? Like, really? But again, on a positive note, I do think that his crying scene and the way he handled it was spot on. So, there's that. What else we got? Terry's sitting there helping out, being a supportive character. Just making sure that Liz is okay, getting her breakfast, making sure the boys are good. And Sam comes over. Now, when I saw Sam at the door, I was like, and she came there with a coffee mug or whatever. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, y'all two can't stand each other on a good day. Sam, you really want to do this? But I get it, Sam was like, I want to repay the favor or whatever. So she comes over and she's supportive and stuff. Even at first Liz was like, are you just here to sit there and dance in her grave? I was like, yep, this isn't going to go over well. But she comes in and they talk or whatever. And, she's being supportive and just a, good ear or whatever just to talk to. And then at some point, Sam is like, have they figured out who killed them? And that's when Liz is like, yep, it was Jason. And at that point I was like, well, it was longer than I thought it was going to last. Because the minute she said that, Sam was like, no, Jason, no. And at one point, I felt like Sam nearly slipped up or whatever. It's like, well, maybe, Franco didn't give Jason a choice or whatever. And at this point, Liz was like, alright, well, just go, Sam says, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I'm always here for you, whatever, and then she walks out. And, at this point, Liz is grieving, and I felt like, first of all, there was a couple reasons why Sam just didn't believe it. one, she's known Jason for a long time. She knows that Jason's not the type of person that just slips up like that. So that's just number one. Um, and I think that's pretty much the only reason I could sit there and think of that, to be honest. Um, and she leaves. Now, Carly is freaking out. Carly's like, I get that Liz is grieving, but penance on you isn't good for anyone. And, Jason's just like, listen, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And at one point, when Carly was like, you should have never agreed to this whole, you're going to put one in his head in case he goes crazy. And Jason was like, you're right. And Carly was like, yeah, I'm sorry, what? But, he explained the reasons why. And, at this point, he's like, because apparently he has the meeting with the 5 families and stuff. And, he pretty much is like, somebody has to be there. I'm making work. Between that and the murder trial, it's going to be tough. But I'm like, Jason, you got this. Now, I'm sitting there thinking that somebody has to be there to represent, Sonny's family. I'm sitting there thinking it's going to be Carly. I remember a long time ago, and this is just to kind of give you a bit of insight on how long I've been watching the show. When Tamara Bay or Tamara B something, when she was Carly, she went to one of Sonny's meetings. I remember that scene very vividly because the minute that they started talking about running drugs into his territory, Carly took out a baseball bat and, it was just a great scene. So I'm sitting there thinking that may happen again. I'm hoping so. I know Jason doesn't want it, but I'm still hoping so. Now, so Sam comes in and Sam flats out asks him, hey, did you kill him? Also, Jason thinks that, he suspects that Peter did it. But, he has to sit there and come up with proof. So, see what happens with that. So, let's talk about Chase and Finn. So, Finn and Chase are talking for a little bit. 1 second. Finn and Chase are sitting there talking for a little bit, and they're talking about Anna, and as things can get, resolved, and, he's still upset. He's upset with the fact that she lied to him, and the fact that she told Valentine and she didn't tell him. It's like, it's a lot. And before they got the chance to resolve anything, she has to sit there and deal with her Peter problem. At some point, Gregory comes in, and Harry goes to take a shower, and apparently this is the perfect time for Gregory and Finn to start talking about, did you run a DNA test, are you going to sit there and tell him the truth? Everything and anything under the sun. I'm sitting there thinking, I know that water is loud when you're in the shower. Some people like to sing in the shower. I like to listen to jazz every once in a while. Okay? But some people just like to take a shower. There's a good possibility that he could have heard everything what you guys are saying, but for some odd reason, this is apparently the perfect time to talk about secrets. At some point, Chase comes out and he overhears the fact that some stuff about how something about like I really couldn't even I didn't really get how much he overheard. I don't know if it was about lies and secrets and whatever, but he overheard something. I don't exactly remember what it was, but he overheard something. And so he got suspicious and he was like, what's going on? Like what's up? But he gets a call, about Franco and stuff like that. And Finn's like, I got to sit there and tell, I got to talk to Liz and make sure she's okay. And he forgets his phone. And at this point, Chase looks at the phone. He's like, it's funny. You guys are sitting there talking about ominous things and, about my mom and lies and secrets or whatever. And I'm not going to lie, I don't remember exactly what it was they were saying. But then he sees the DNA test and he's like, what is this DNA test about? And, Finn's like, oh, it's just about work, confidential stuff, I can't tell you. At this point, Chase is like, no, no, that's not what that was. We're gonna have to talk about this, bro. We need to have a talk about this right now. So at this point, Finn is not there like, nah, it's about work. I'm telling you it's about work. Jackie comes in. Jackie's like, no, we're not doing this. Nope, we have lied long enough. So tomorrow is going to be the day where Chase World is going to get turned upside down. And somebody's either going to be a dad and a brother, or a dad and a grandfather. But, and it's funny too, because Chase was dead serious. And I'm not going to lie, when Chase is serious, it's great. Oh, and by the way, and I know I haven't said this, and I don't know why I keep forgetting to say this, but if you do follow the actor, on Instagram or whatever, or if you don't follow him on Instagram, he is having a child, so, definitely go and congratulate him and wish him well and stuff like that. I don't say it's too often, but, the actor and the character has really grown on me, and, the guy just looks so happy. And I am genuinely happy for him. So, I don't do this too often, but, yeah, wish him congrats and good luck and all that good stuff on his Instagram. I would write down his name in the comments, in the description below. Now, Anna and Jackie were talking a little bit, and pretty much it was just Anna just really admitting her part that she played in pretty much the destruction of her, I can't even sit there and say marriage, her relationship. The fact that she was like willfully ignorant, I think that's what she said, about Peter and stuff like that. And the thing is, here's the thing, even though she didn't really have a lot of concrete proof, her instincts were sitting there telling her that there's something off, that there's something wrong about Peter. And all the stuff that happened, she kept sitting there trying to find excuses and reasons and all this other stuff like that. And in the end, it just wound up backfiring. And the sad thing is that it didn't just backfire on her and her relationship with Peter. I mean, her and her relationship with Finn. Maxie, her children, Violet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a domino effect. But, you know what? At this point, listen. We all know how I feel about Anna. She's not exactly my favorite character. She's not the worst character, but she's not exactly my favorite character either. But, I mean, the first steps is sit there and admitting that you're wrong, and then sit there and, ask for forgiveness and just kind of be open about it. So I give her points for that, and plus, she's a tea person, and, well, I love tea in the morning, so, there's that. And the last thing, and I really feel like I've been forgetting something, but the last thing I want to sit there and talk about is the Sonny and his side story. Here's the thing, I know I should probably come up with a better euphemism than Sonny and his side story, like it's crap. But this is exactly why I have to clip in the description box below, because, I'll talk about the scene, and then I'll talk about the clip afterwards a little bit. Just a little highlights here and there. But you can watch it for yourself to kind of get a better definition. So, Lenny and Phyllis is still sitting there worried about their money troubles. And some guy comes in, apparently like an old tenant or whatever, that they rented a room to. Now he's in money and stuff like that. Long story short, he wants to buy the pub. He looks at the fact that the crime rate is up. Between the repairs and the mortgage, they're just in a financial hole. And with that being said, at first Sonny's like, when the guy says that he wants to buy the place, and he's talking about this deal and stuff like that, and how it's beneficial for them, Sonny's like, alright, listen, you trying to sweet talk them and con them into something. And on one hand, I'm like, listen, Sonny, you are looking out for them. like they looked out for you. And I think that's great, and I think that's beautiful, and that's a great thing. On the other hand, I was like, Sonny, why don't you just chill out for 5 minutes and let him actually finish talking, because, well, this isn't your bar. And I understand that your heart is in the right place, but, you know, there's times that you might need to, I don't know, shut the hell up. Just for a little bit. So yeah, he pretty much just like, you know, I want to bar to bar. You can still run it. You know, this is supposed to be your retirement, you know, nest egg or whatever, not, you know, financial struggles. And Lenny's like, I'll think about it. And the guy walks off. Now, earlier, Sonny was talking about this poker game that he's going to sit there and go to. And with that being said, you know, after the guy leaves, Sonny's like, listen, don't decide anything until I get back. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, Sonny, or Mike, here's the thing. Whatever you're going to win from whatever this little deal that you're going to get is not going to be enough to sit there and cover what they're going through. And to be honest, I don't really see a way out for them. I really don't. Again, between the damage of the bar, the fact that they still have to, you know, how much money it's going to cost to rebuild and replace stuff and pay the mortgage. Yeah, this is a good deal. Take the deal. Now, I get the fact that, you know, Lenny's been running that bar throughout all his life, and, you know, handing it over to somebody else, even though that you're working, you're being, you know, listen, I can't imagine what it's like to sit there and run a place, put your blood, your sweat, and your tears in your place, see it go through a really hard financial time, and have to sit there and decide between your pride, what's best for your wife, what's best for them. I can't imagine that. And while I can sit there and be like, listen, I'm looking at this from the outside and be like, bro, just sell, because I don't really see a way out of this. I understand his hesitation, you know. With that being said, I still think he should sell, and I don't know, I'm not sitting there saying where he's going to get his pocket change, but whatever it is, yeah, it may cover some of the costs, but again, you know, how many people actually show up at that bar, you know? So, I don't know, now, the clip, I think this is about it. If I miss anything, write down in the comment section below, because I really do appreciate that. Now, this clip is kind of funny because it, you know, Maurice Bernard is sitting there talking about how, you know, people are sitting there saying that, you know, they want Sonny to be Sonny, and, you know, pretty much just how he's really happy about playing a new character and just kind of doing something different. And I'm not going to get really too much into it. This is something for, you know, if you want to watch it, it kind of really gets into his headspace about why he's doing, you know, this whole scene or whatever. Or why, you know, he's looking at the, I don't want to sit there and say backlash, but like, you know, he's like, oh, you know, we want you to play Sonny and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, well, you know, I want to have fun. I'm an actor. I want to be something, I want to do something different, and yada, yada, yada. And I can understand, here's the thing, I can understand to some extent where both sides are coming from. You know, as an actor, you want to change it up, you don't want to be bored. And to be honest, you want to make the actor happy, and if he wants to sit there and do something different for a little bit, let him do something different, you know. It's not sitting there saying I really enjoyed that different, and this is where Steve was sitting there saying that people aren't used to change, and I totally agree. But I understand that he wants to do something different, you know. But on the other hand, he has a fan. I'm still just like, alright, so when is your little experiment going to be done? Like, when are you going to get, like, are you good? You got that out of your system? That's what I'm sitting there thinking. Each and every day I watch this side story thing, I'm just like, so did you got out of your system? You good now? You ready to come back and, you know, do what everyone really enjoys watching you do? Or are we just going to keep doing whatever your little, you know, your experiment is? Now, to some extent, I'm not sitting there saying this is the worst storyline I've seen. It's not. And I was sitting there thinking about this last night, and I look at this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to look at some positive about this whole side story, this Sunny side story, because I always sit there and say it like it's whatever. But here's the thing: you look at Sunny's character, and he's, it's much more of a challenge for him. He's not in a position of money. He's not in a position of power. He's not in a position of backup. He gets into a fight with someone. He can't rely on Jason to sit there and bail him out. He has to do it himself. He has to clean his own floors. Listen, I mean, what I like about Sonny is that he didn't grow up rich. He grew up not just, I wouldn't sit there and say dirt poor, but just, middle class to lower class to some extent. And he didn't exactly have a good upbringing. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, Sonny, you killed a bunch of people to rise to power. That's so great. But I understand that, like, he didn't come from money, He wasn't born into it. And so, watching him actually do stuff on his own, and even, when I was talking about the poker game, he gets into that poker game with those people, he starts winning a lot of money. They decide to, well, whoop his ass. He can't call Jason for backup, He can't be feared just by the fact that he walks into a room and people know who he is. Which somebody was sitting there saying is kind of odd that Sonny is this big time mob guy and yet they don't know, like where's, it's not like he's in Alaska or something like that. So I'm just like, how does people not know who he is? But that's no here or there. But the point is, it's more challenging to watch Sonny go through some of this stuff. So I can kind of look at it and I can appreciate it in that sense. And with that being said, I think I didn't talk long enough. The video will be in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all the people who've been watching. Thank you for the new people who are watching. And, yeah, it was awesome. Have a great day, great night, be safe. I will catch you in the next video.